Emmanuel here with a quick take on economics. We've been talking about prosperity and well managed economies, right? Our question: how can a country become wealthier? Which is actually to say, as Adam Smith himself pointed out in his book, A Wealth of Nations, his final work, I believe, or his greatest work, the work for which he's most well known. Wealth is owned by individuals, by people, not by nations. It's not the property of nations, at least from an economic perspective, right? If we're talking about economics and wealth, we're not talking necessarily, even when we say that a country is wealthy, what we really mean is that people from that country are wealthy. It's an important distinction. But what does it mean? I mean, if I have a machine that will make a country wealthier, what kind of buttons would I need to push? Now, again, I use this metaphor very loosely, but just to allow us to think, you're in there, what are the buttons looking like? What are you trying to do? Well, economists have identified the manufacturing sector as being the driver for growth in an economy. That's another way of saying that the more factories that a country has, the more, the wealthier its people will be. The more that a country is producing high value goods, even to be more precise. Because here again, an important distinction, any kind of, how do we put it? Because economists talk about industrialization and manufacturing and structural transformation. What do they mean? Because they talk about this and to say that this is the way that we can get wealthier as a country. These are the mysterious, is it the magic potion, spells, or the ideas, the formulae that would result in us getting wealthier as people, as individuals, as getting jobs and lifting ourselves out from poverty. So, what do these terms actually refer to? Let's break it down. Industry. Well, industry, when we talk about industry, we're really referring to any activity that is, we're transforming materials in one way or another. We're being productive, okay? If we say agrarian industry, we're talking about economic activities that have to do with the soil, right? Manufacturing industry, economic activities that have to do with adding value, transforming materials from one form to another. If I'm cobbling together shoes, or is it producing shoes? I'm in manufacturing. If I cut down a tree, I've manufactured lumber, or rather, sorry. Yes, that is it. I'm transforming raw material from one form into another. That is manufacturing. Services, intangible goods, right? And an intangible item like cutting your hair, right? Getting your hair done. That is a service industry activity. Now, given that, when economists talk about industrialization, they use the term as if to imply that industry is being intensified, right? They're really talking about that industry becoming more productive. right? In most cases, as I've come to understand it, talking about increasing actually the manufacturing activities. So we might say that a country will become wealthier by growing its manufacturing industry. If you grow the manufacturing industry enough, then you have structural transformation. What this basically means is, now imagine you're living in a agrarian country. What does that mean? You fly over the country and you're close to the ground, right? And maybe a helicopter, you're likely to see a lot of people digging, right? Engaged in activities with the soil. They are agrarian. They might even be hunting and gathering. But if you fly over the country again, and while you're being told that the country has a sizable manufacturing industry, then you're likely to find people doing everything from cutting down trees to mining to taking grapes and squeezing them to make wine or juices of all kinds. If you're told that a country services industry is very sizable, then you're likely to find a lot of merchants, people trading things, people cutting people's hair, basically doing intangible, work that is either retail or a service can't be touched by your hands. So when we talk about structural transformation, we're usually referring to positive transformation. I don't know if you can have a negative transformation, but I'm assuming so, just in terms of the words, right? The lexicon. Growth in manufacturing. So more and more people transforming raw materials. But even more specifically, we want activities that actually see people transforming materials into higher and higher value goods. That's it. And that is what we mean when we talk about structural transformation, when we talk about manufacturing, and when we say industry. I hope we've kind of distinguished between the three, be important moving forward.